All right, everyone, get ready because today we are going deep into the psychology of attraction, long-term attraction.
Yeah.
And we're going to be focusing specifically on why the whole always be there approach
Right.
might actually be backfiring.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going to be looking at an article.
Okay.
It's got a very clickbaity title.
Uh-oh.
It's called One Seduction Skill All Men Must Master to Keep Women Hooked Long-Term and Never Leave You.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is, but don't let that turn you off.
Okay.
Because when you actually get into the article,
Right.
there are some seriously insightful points in there about the dynamics of attraction.
I've heard that's true.
Yeah. So let's jump right in.
All right.
The first concept we're going to be unpacking is this idea of the power of absence.
Okay.
So the article argues that actually giving someone space can actually make them more attracted to you.
Interesting.
It even compares absence to oxygen.
Hmm.
Like it's essential for keeping those flames of attraction burning.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really highlights how too much of a good thing can actually diminish its value.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like too much of anything.
Exactly.
It's not good.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Imagine you land a date with someone amazing, right?
Right.
And you're texting them constantly, always available,
Yeah.
always trying to hang out.
Right.
That novelty is going to wear off fast.
Yes.
And then what happens? You become predictable.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little stifling.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
No.
But,
Yeah.
this brings up the question in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that encouraging people to play games?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, to pretend to be busy, just to make themselves seem more desirable.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's not really about that, though.
Okay.
It's not about manipulation. It's
Okay.
really more about understanding the psychology at play here.
Gotcha.
Because when you're constantly present, you become less of a mystery.
Oh, that's true.
There's no room for anticipation to build.
Yeah.
No space for the other person to kind of wonder about you and crave your presence.
So it's like you're saying it's about creating that sense of longing
Exactly.
that I can't wait to see you again feeling.
Exactly, yeah. And that's where the dopamine comes in.
Ah, yes.
Like that feel-good neurotransmitter.
Oh, yeah.
And so novelty and anticipation trigger dopamine release, which is why that initial stage of attraction is so exhilarating.
Right.
But when we're constantly bombarded with the same stimulus,
Okay.
the dopamine response diminishes.
Interesting.
And so absence allows that dopamine cycle to reset,
I see.
making those moments together feel even more rewarding.
Wow. I never thought about it in terms of dopamine, but that makes so much sense.
Right.
So in a way, by giving someone space, you're actually making those moments that you do share together
Right.
more potent,
More potent.
more charged with excitement.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, and this leads us to the next point the article emphasizes, which is the danger of neediness.
Oh,
The stage 5 clinger.
yeah, exactly.
But,
It doesn't always have to be that dramatic.
right, exactly.
Okay.
Neediness can show up in much more subtle ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Like constantly seeking reassurance,
Yeah.
being overly accommodating,
Right.
always putting your partner's needs above your own to the point where you lose yourself.
Yeah.
And these behaviors, unfortunately, tend to signal insecurity
Okay.
and a lack of self-validation.
So it kind of comes across as not confident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be a real turnoff.
Okay, so how do we project that secure, confident energy then?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Well, it boils down to cultivating what's often called an abundance mindset.
Okay.
It's this belief that there are plenty of opportunities out there for connection and happiness in life.
Okay.
It's about focusing on building a really fulfilling life that doesn't hinge on having a partner to complete you.
So you're saying invest in yourself.
Exactly.
Pursue your passions. Build a life that you love.
Yes.
And then the right people will be drawn to that energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when you approach dating from a place of self-assuredness,
Right.
you're not clinging to every potential partner. Like, your only shot at happiness.
Right.
You're choosing from a place of strength,
Okay.
not scarcity.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered absences, we've covered neediness, two pretty big relationship pitfalls, it seems.
It seems so.
But there's another layer to attraction that this article brings up.
Okay.
This whole idea of the importance of safety and security.
Interesting.
And it's not just about physical safety.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm curious to hear more about this.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into that right after a quick break.
Sound good.
All right, so we're back, and I'm really fascinated by this whole idea of security and attraction.
Yeah.
On the surface, I think everyone wants to feel safe and secure.
Of course.
Right. But this article seems to be hinting at something deeper.
Yeah.
Like something beyond just physical safety.
It is, and it's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
We always hear about the importance of emotional intelligence in relationships.
Right.
But this article takes it a step further.
Okay.
It kind of suggests that women in particular are drawn to men who exhibit a certain level of stability,
Okay.
but across multiple dimensions.
So break it down for me.
Okay.
What are these different dimensions of security?
Okay.
And how do they play out in attraction?
Well, let's start with emotional security.
Okay.
So this is about being with someone who is emotionally stable,
Right.
grounded. They don't, just fly off the handle at the slightest provocation.
Right.
And it's about feeling safe to express your own feelings
Yeah.
without fear of judgment or rejection.
So it's about being with someone who can handle their own emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And create that safe space for you to do the same.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. And then what about mental security?
Yeah, so mental security is closely related. This is about being with someone who has a really strong sense of self, who's confident in their own abilities,
Yeah.
and who doesn't need to constantly seek validation from others.
So they have like an internal compass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not easily swayed by external pressures or opinions.
And this ties back into what we were talking about before.
Exactly.
About neediness.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not mentally secure, you're
Yeah.
more likely to be clingy, demanding,
Right.
constantly seeking reassurance,
Yeah.
which, as we said, can be a real turnoff.
Because it makes you seem less confident.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So we've got emotional, mental, and then there's the financial security piece.
Yes.
Which can be a little bit of a touchy subject.
it can be.
But it's undeniable that it plays a role
It does.
in attraction.
Absolutely. And again, we're not saying that you need to be with a millionaire.
Right.
It's more about just demonstrating a level of responsibility
Okay.
and competence when it comes to managing your finances.
So like having your act together.
Yes, exactly.
Being responsible,
Yes.
reliable, not going to create unnecessary stress and drama
Exactly.
in that area of life.
Yeah, yeah.
So all of these different dimensions,
I
emotional, mental, financial.
We're all tie back to this idea of being a solid foundation, a
Right.
safe harbor in the storm.
Okay, I'm really liking this analogy
Yeah.
of a safe harbor in the storm.
Yeah, it's about knowing you can kind of weather life's ups and downs together without the relationship falling apart.
Yeah, okay, I'm getting a much clearer picture here now.
Good, good.
So, but there's this one more kind of curveball
Okay.
that the article throws in that
Yeah.
I'm still kind of wrapping my head around,
Yeah.
which is this whole concept of frame control.
Ah, yes, frame control.
Yeah, so tell me more about that.
It's a tricky one to grasp,
Yeah.
but it can be incredibly powerful once you understand how it works.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. So what exactly is frame control?
Okay.
And why is it so important in attraction?
So, in essence, frame control is about setting the tone and direction of the interaction.
Okay.
It's about leading, not following.
Okay.
It's about having a clear sense of self and not being easily swayed by the opinions or emotions of others.
Okay, can you give me like a real world example of what this looks like?
Okay, so imagine you're on a date
Okay.
and the other person starts making jokes at your expense,
All right.
trying to tease you or
Yeah.
put you down. Someone without frame control
Yeah.
might get flustered,
Right.
try to please the other person,
Yeah.
or even start putting themselves down.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, not a good look.
Not a good look.
But someone with strong frame control
Yeah.
would remain unfazed.
Okay.
They might playfully deflect the joke
All
or change the subject
right.
or even address the behavior directly,
Okay.
but in a confident and assertive way.
So you're not letting them dictate
Exactly.
how you feel
Right.
or how the interaction's going to go.
You're maintaining your composure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And this goes beyond just handling negativity, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Frame control is also about being decisive,
Okay.
having a clear vision for what you want, and
Yeah.
not being afraid to express it.
So you're the one who kind of walks into a room
Yes.
and immediately commands attention.
Yeah, and not because you're being loud or demanding,
Right.
but because you just exude this quiet confidence,
Yeah.
this self-assuredness.
All right.
Yeah, and it's important to note
Yeah.
that frame control is not about manipulation or dominance.
Okay.
It's really about owning your worth,
Okay.
setting healthy boundaries,
Yeah.
and showing up authentically as the best version of yourself.
This is really making me think differently about how I approach interactions.
I think that's the key takeaway here.
Yeah.
It's not just about dating.
Right.
It's about all areas of life.
It really is.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
Frame control.
powerful stuff.
All right, so we've got absence,
Yes.
we've got neediness, we've got security,
Yes.
we've got frame control.
A lot to unpack here.
We do have a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So we're going to take another quick pause.
Okay.
We're going to come back,
Right.
and we'll tie all these concepts together
Sounds good.
and how you can actually start applying them in your own life.
All right. So we're back.
Yeah?
Ready to kind of wrap up this deep dive into attraction.
Mhm.
I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We talked about the power of absence,
Yes.
the danger of neediness,
Right.
the importance of security
Yes.
across all those different dimensions.
And multiple dimensions of security.
And then that mysterious frame control.
Right, exactly.
It's like a whole new framework for thinking about how relationships work.
It is, and it's not just about getting the girl or landing the date.
Right.
It's about building healthy relationships that go beyond the superficial.
Exactly. And that's what I find so interesting about this. Like,
Yeah.
we started with this article that seemed like it was just giving kind of basic dating advice.
Right.
But really, we've uncovered these like universal truths about human connection
Absolutely.
that I think apply to all kinds of relationships,
Yeah, I agree.
not just romantic ones. So whether you're navigating the dating scene
Right.
or looking to deepen an existing relationship,
Yeah.
or even just improve your interactions with like colleagues and friends,
Yeah, for sure.
I think these principles can be incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm curious,
Yeah.
what are some like actionable takeaways that our listeners can start implementing today?
Okay, well, first and foremost,
Okay.
remember the power of absence.
Okay.
Give yourself and the other person space to breathe, pursue individual passions, and just to simply miss each other.
Yeah, and it's not about playing games,
Right.
right? It's about,
It's allowing that natural ebb and flow of attraction to occur.
right?
Yeah.
Like when you're baking bread and you got to let the yeast do its work.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
You can't rush the process.
You got to give it time to rise,
Right.
to develop those complex flavors.
And speaking of taking time,
Yeah.
let's talk about cultivating an abundance mindset.
Yes.
You know, invest in yourself,
Mm,
pursue your passions,
yeah.
build a life that you love,
Right.
and you'll naturally radiate that confidence and security that draws people in.
So ditch the scarcity mindset,
Exactly.
that fear that there's not enough good partners out there,
Yeah.
that desperation, and just focus on becoming the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
And when you approach relationships from that place,
Right.
you're choosing from a place of strength,
Yes.
not desperation.
Yes, exactly.
And that ties back into the importance of security, right?
It does.
Not just physical safety,
Right.
but emotional, mental, and even financial stability. You know, it's about showing up as someone who has their act together,
Right.
who can weather life's storms.
Yes, exactly.
So being that solid foundation, that safe harbor in the
A
storm.
safe harbor, I love that visual.
And then last but not least,
Yeah.
frame control.
Yes.
The ability to set the tone and direction of your interactions. So being clear about your values,
Yes.
your boundaries, leading with confidence,
Yeah.
authenticity,
Right.
not letting other people kind of dictate your emotional state.
Exactly.
It's like being the captain of your own ship.
Yes.
You're navigating the waters of relationships
Right.
with a steady hand.
And a clear vision.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave our listeners with a bit of a challenge here.
Okay.
How might consciously incorporating these principles shift your approach to dating or relationships? What new possibilities might open up?
Yeah.
If you embrace the power of absence, cultivated an abundance mindset,
Yeah.
prioritize security, and master the art of frame control.
Those are powerful questions to ponder.
Yeah.
And as you continue exploring the complexities of human connection,
Right.
remember that there's always more to learn, more to uncover,
Yeah.
and more to experience.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
I think this was a really fascinating conversation.
Me too.
And until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open to new possibilities.
I love it.